Hi, my name is Bobby. We're recording a demonstration on how to weave these looms that I made for a project called Botanical Canopy, which is for the Sombra project with the Phoenix Office of Arts and Culture. So when you show up, you will be given a frame and 4 40 length pieces of paracord. There will be color options. You get to choose the colors. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna find the middle of this string. So this is the first 4 strands of a 7-strand French cane, commonly used on mid-century furniture. And the first 3 strands are just like shoes. You're gonna come in this hole here. I'm gonna do both of them at the same time, and I'm gonna pull it all the way through until I get to the middle. Then I can take 1 strand and I can bundle it up and get it out of the way. Like so. And now I can take this strand, and this is going to be the working end. We went into the center holes here. This first strand is lacing in this direction. And we're going to go in the center hole at the top and then out the second hole closest to you. And pull it all the way through until you get to the middle. And we're going to do this with every hole coming this way until we run out of string, and then we'll go that way.
So, in 1 hole, out the next hole.
In 1 hole, out the next hole. In 1 hole, out the next hole. So there is a point where discretion, these holes get closer together, and so I can skip a hole, and the goal is to keep these lines parallel. And then we'll carry that pattern through until the end. And that is 1/2 of the first strand. We will repeat the same pattern on the other side. So I have reached the end of my first strand. Now, one of the things that is important is that we get it tight. So at this point, I'm gonna put a wedge, I don't have one on me, in this. And then I'm gonna just pull the tension out and follow it back through the whole frame. I'm just going finger tight, but you can see by the time I get to the other side, I'll have several extra feet of cordage that I am able to pull out. I was able to pull out an extra 30 inches or so. So strand 2 is the exact same as strand 1, just in a perpendicular orientation. So again, we're going to start by finding the middle. So I found the middle. Yay. Now the middle of the leaf is a little harder to pinpoint in this direction. So we're gonna work this out as we workshop this, but I'm gonna start with these two holes right here. And I'm gonna pull, again, both strands through until I get to the middle. And then I'm gonna start with this shorter side. So I'm gonna take this longer side and I'm gonna bundle it up. I'm gonna start with the shorter side because if there's too much left on the end, we can pull it back through in a shorter amount of distance. And so again, I'm gonna come in one hole. It does get a little exciting because you overlap. You start to overlap, but then I'll pull it through. And so it's important to remember that you're doing a second layer and you're not following the pattern from the first layer. And because in this orientation, the slope of the shape doesn't get too high, we don't have to skip any holes. We can see we have established our squares, and I can come back and finish this half. All right, so wedge, golf tee, and it will hold the tension as you pull out the tension to the other side. Wedge holds the tension. So the third strand, again, you want to find the middle, but this is the part where it gets confusing because the third strand goes the same direction as the first strand, just in the opposite direction. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to start the exact opposite. You'll see a pattern forming on the outside of the rim. We're gonna fill this gap right here. And again, pull both strands through. And again, separate one and set it aside. So I'm going to take this strand and I'm gonna make sure that I'm following this first line and go in that hole and out this next hole. Now a good way to tell that you're doing it correctly again is on this rim you have the lace from the previous strand, and then when we're putting this strand in we're filling that gap. But other than that, it is the same process as the first two strands. And then you also want to follow the pattern established. So I started skipping a hole here, and so I'm going to skip that hole. And so again, this third strand just sits on top of the first strand. It's still in the same direction. And then I'll come back and do the second half. And so now you can see that this strand is from the first strand, and this strand is from the third strand. And what we can do is we can just tie a square knot. Tie a square knot right here. And we want to get it as tight as we can. Because now this time when we come back and we pull this third strand, we pull the tension out of this third strand, it'll pull the first strand tighter too. And so we can come through, pull the tension out. Again, just finger tight. Pull out the rest of the tension. And then again, this strand is from the first strand, this strand is from the third strand. This is why it's important that you go opposite directions, but you can tie a square knot here. And this one's a little hard. You might want to do the whole, can I borrow a finger? That one, yeah. Thank you. Third strand. We're about ready to start the fourth strand. I've already found middle in the fourth strand, set up the same way. We're gonna come back again. The fourth strand goes in the same direction as the second strand. However, it is actually woven. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start again with middle. And I'm working in here. It's going to get harder because there's now 3 strands in some of these holes, but I'm working in the middle here. And this one is like more important, the accuracy of the middle, because as we weave, we're going to build up friction. But same thing, pull the whole thing through to middle, and then bundle up one side and get it out of the way. We're gonna start weaving. So I'm gonna find the end of the work end, and consistency is the name of the game. And so I'm going to take the third strand, the one sitting on top, and I'm gonna push it to the side. And then I'm gonna come back through. And then again, the one on the top, I'm gonna push to the side and then come up through the bottom one. So this is your real typical weave, over, under, over, under. I'm just making sure that I'm consistently going over the third strand and under the second strand. You will notice that the friction does build up. So I will pull all of this through when I get to the end here before I put it in the next hole. And I'm following this strand right now. And then now I will pull the strand all the way through. You want to maybe make sure that you don't do that. And then it'll be easier on subsequent ones to comb this better. But I just want to remind myself that I'm paired with that strand there, so that when I come through this hole and out this hole, I know that I'm supposed to be on this side of that existing strand. And again, consistency is the name of the game. So I want to make sure that I'm going under the same and over the same strand on the way back. So this time it's, instead of over under, it's under over as we go back. And then again, I'll pull the whole thing through. And now you can see that the comb, it's easier to comb these out, get it tensioned. But you want to make sure that you're pulling as much tension out as you go, because again, the friction is building up, and it's not going to be as easy to tighten the individual strands after this. But that's the basic premise. We'll continue that all the way through. Again, you'll notice when you swap directions, stay on the same side, and this is over under, not under over. So when you go back to the middle and start over, you just want to double check that you're in the same orientation. It'll feel backwards. But you want to make sure that you're still got the third strand in the right space. You're on the right side of the second strand. And then just, you know, straight home till morning. It's tied off with the square knot. If you followed directions, you'll wind up in the next hole, simple square knot, and then 3/4 of an inch to an inch worth of tail. And and you have a finished leaf. Next month, we will be bolting these into a hub for the finished sculpture. So the sculpture has 15 of these hubs and 60 of these petals. And these extra holes that we did not use act as a bolt bracket. They bolt on and overlap like so.